I'm 53 years old and I just lost 27 pounds in 28 days. And if you stick around, I'll tell you exactly how I did it. All right, so a couple of years ago, I had what I consider to be a fairly serious heart episode. Yeah, I checked myself into the emergency room and I was diagnosed with having AFib and aflutter. Now, kind of summarizing the last 2 years, but I tell people that visit to the emergency room got me a cardiologist, a pulmonologist, and a financial proctologist. And the bottom line is, I was on meds and have been on meds, still on meds for the last 2 years. Did a sleep study. They found out I had sleep apnea. I was at my heaviest 247.6 pounds and not in good shape unless you consider round shape. Then 3 months ago, I had knee surgery. 2 weeks after that, I moved and re injured my knee. Then, 2 weeks after that re injury, I had heart surgery to fix the atrial flutter and the AFib that was going on in my heart. I tell you all of that to tell you this: the need for me to lose some weight cannot be overstated. I needed to get into a better place. I used to be very, very physically fit, and it's just kind of all gone downhill in the last several years. And so I needed to do something different. And so I have been receiving a lot of questions about my process of how I lost 27 pounds in 28 days. There's so many questions, in fact, that I thought I'm just going to make a video and answer some questions right here and now. So let's just get right into it. The first question that I get asked almost all the time, I mean, we're talking multiple times every single day, is how did you do it? What are you doing? How do you know? What kind of diet are you on? And I just want to let you know, I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on YouTube. And I'm not suggesting that what I did is something that you should do. What I am suggesting and what I will tell you are the details of what I did. And I will give you a referral to the resources that I sought out when I was, in the last month. Because honest to goodness, this is current event for me right now. Uh, but I won't tell you you have to do that. You are advised to find your doctor and run these ideas past your doctor to see if they are appropriate for you in your stage of life and health. The answer, how I did it, I got involved in the ketogenic lifestyle. I coupled keto with intermittent fasting. And that intermittent fasting sounds all kinds of scary because it's got the word fasting in it. And when we think of fasting, we think of Jesus 40 days and 40 nights in the desert. We're not talking about anything like that whatsoever. Instead, what the word fasting means, at least what it means to me, is the shrinking down of the window of opportunity to eat. And in my case, I chose a 6 hour window. Okay. Now, a 6 hour window doesn't have to be what you do. Some people do 8 hours, some people do 10 hours. There are some people who do 12 hours, but then my question to you is, how is that any different than what you're already doing? But that's not for me to sort out. Now, I get a lot of questions. How can I do it? I get this. What do I need to give up? Right? And those are usually followed up with a couple of different things. One person tells me, oh, I could never do, and I'll fill in the blanks here in a bit. Or I have to have, and then fill in the blanks, and I'll fill those in for you here in just a minute. So stay tuned. And then at the end of this, I'm going to talk to you about what's for dinner and what I'll be having to celebrate today, the day that I hit 27.6 pounds down and hit my original goal of 220 pounds. I'm not done yet, but it was my first goal, and I'm super excited about it. So I'm going to talk to you about my dinner plans for tonight and maybe inspire you with those as well. All right. So how did I do it? Listen, again, not a doctor, but I subscribed to the ketogenic lifestyle about, well, exactly 4 months ago, December 27th of 2020. I was at my heaviest weight of 247.6 pounds, and I knew I had to do something different. I've had lots of heart and health issues over the last couple of years, and I needed to do something. I've seen keto out there for many years, actually, but never really got involved in it. Really didn't understand it. Didn't want it. It sounded hard. It sounded like you had to sacrifice a whole bunch of stuff, and I didn't want to do that. And it gets to a place where the pain that we experience outweighs the need to shift, right? And when that pain outweighs the need to shift, then shift is possible. Okay, as some people say, shift happens. What defines keto, if you will, or at least in my experience, is limiting your carbs to 5%, limiting your protein to 25% of your daily intake, and then the balance is 70%, which is high fat. You're allowed to have fat on this diet. So cheeses and sauces and tigers, oh my, those are all okay. So let's say I've been studying it for a couple of months, but I finally took action on December 27th, and here we are exactly 4 weeks later, and I'm down those 27.6 pounds. All right. So the fasting window that I chose is what's known as an 18-6, which means I can eat between the hours of noon and 6 p.m. Those hours are flexible if you want to break it down to 11 to 5 or 1 to 7 or whatever, but it's a 6-hour window. And then the other 18 hours of the day are the hours that the body gets to do what the body does best, and that is burn fat. Now, it burns fat when we allow it to, and that's the secret of the ketogenic diet, right? Because let's just put it this way. Carbs are the body's first source of fuel. The body converts carbs into sugar. Sugar, bad, right? We all know that sugar is bad, but we're all addicted to sugar and to carbs. And when I'm talking about carbs, I'm talking about your pastas, your grains, the rice, bread. But because carbs convert into sugars, and that becomes our body's first source of fuel, the body fuels on that and never gets to the stored fat. And for us guys, in many ways, the fat ends up here on the belly, and it's ugly. It's hard. I couldn't even tie my shoes, right? So instead of eating those carbs, we put that to a minimum, and we get to eat things like steak and pork and ham and eggs and sausage and chicken. You get to eat a lot of stuff that is really satisfying and filling, actually. You can eat a lot of those cruciferous vegetables, broccoli and cauliflower and asparagus and things like that. Those are great. Brussels sprouts. Wow. Brussels sprouts have made a huge comeback for me in my personal world. So you get to eat a lot of food. I never even considered being on the ketogenic diet anything like a sacrifice. It wasn't sacrificial to me at all. Now, I love me some pasta just as much as the next guy. And I really love burgers with buns instead of burgers with lettuce wraps, right? But I also realize that it's not forever. And as the title infers, I have been doing this for exactly 28 days now. I'm down 27.6 pounds. I find that a great reward ratio, and I'm happy to say that it doesn't have to be forever. I have one more goal, and once I get to that goal, and I'll let you know what it is, it's another 10 pounds. I want to get to 210 pounds before I kind of level off in my active pursuit of weight loss. Okay, I'll turn over to more of a maintenance kind of a thing, and we'll talk more about that in episodes to come here. But I just want to let you know, look, this thing is doable. It's not a sacrifice. Sure, there are things that you have to give up. Um, when people ask me, what do I have to give up, here's what one guy told me. He says, I could never give up eating my breakfast. I have to have this particular thing every single day in my routine. That's the whole thing. Well, can we talk here for just a second? Because if you're not going to give up the things that are necessary in order to get the results that you're looking for, don't even bother trying. And I don't mean to sound cynical there, but that's the reality. If you're not willing to do, what's the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing you've always done and expecting different results. That's not going to help you here. The other person I talked to sat there and he says, I got to have 4 or 5 snacks every single day, and if I don't, I get so hungry I start jonesing. Here's what I discovered: when you follow a keto diet and you have 20 grams or less of carbs, and you have 70% fat in your diet, then here's what you will discover, as I did. And that is that you're no longer hungry between meals. I promise you, it took me 3, 4 days to get into the state of ketosis. That is basically to let my body burn up all the carbs that were inside, and now flip over the switch to go to the to burning fat, which is what the body's designed to do. And from that moment on, I was never hungry. I wasn't even hungry in the lead up to it, but I did have, during that 6 hour window from 12 to 6, I did have a couple of periods where I would have 3 meals. I would have something for lunch, right? And it's okay to have like an omelet, which I did. I had a bacon cheese omelet or a sausage and cheese omelet with avocado on it and hot sauce and salsa and all that stuff. I mean, I ate well, but then sometimes in the first couple of days, I might, be jonesing for a little bit of a snack or something like that. So I would grab a handful of keto approved nuts. Not all nuts are keto approved. They can sneak up on you. And then I would have dinner and I'd be great for the next 18 hours. Now, the good news is most of those 18 hours you're asleep, or at least a lot of them you are asleep. And so it doesn't seem like fasting. And if you want to put it into words, it seems like skipping breakfast. For me, that's what it seemed like. Skipping breakfast or delaying breakfast until I could have it, which was just, at noon. And it worked for me. Now, on this channel, we're going to talk a lot about diet things. I'm going to prepare food for you to see what I'm doing. I'll prepare a day's worth of food on various videos so that you can kind of see what I'm doing for the lunch meal, and maybe I might even prepare a snack so that people know that they can snack as well, and then an evening meal. I'm going to do all that for you here on this channel. So if you haven't already subscribed yet, now's your opportunity. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the notify bell, and stick with me through this. But look, it's not a sacrifice when you're committed to something. People say, "Oh, I'll try that keto." Listen, don't try that. Nobody tries something with the intent to stick to it. They try it to see if I like it. Well, let me challenge you. I wrote a speech years and years and years ago called "No One Ever Tried on a Parachute," and it's true. Parachutes are really uncomfortable. You got to lean forward in the plane because the pack is in the back. You can't lean back, and then you push out. Jump out of a completely good airplane. You're at terminal velocity, which means you will be a pancake unless you pull that ripcord. You pull the ripcord. Let's just say everything works the way that it should, and the canopy opens up, and it's fantastic, and everything is good. But the minute the air catches that canopy and it opens up to its full bloom, guess what happens? You get the wedgie from the nether regions, don't you? Yeah. And when you do that, I can tell you that ain't comfortable. But nobody in that state of discomfort has ever decided, this is a little too uncomfortable. I got to get rid of this wedgie and take off the parachute. They don't do that. You don't try on a parachute. Don't try on a diet or any kind of a solution. This is good advice for all of us in all of our lives, right? Commit to something. Say you're going to do it. And maybe you say you're going to do it for 30 days, right? That would be kind of cool. If you're going to do it for 30 days, great. Do it for 30 days and let's see what kind of results you got. I am living proof of the results that I've got, and I'm super excited about those. All right, let's talk quickly about what's for dinner. All right, because tonight I'm celebrating. I am celebrating my loss of 27.6 pounds in 28 days. And here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it in style, guys. I am going to have a ribeye steak, and I'm going to the butcher and I'm going to get a nice one, right? Going to get a nice ribeye steak, and I'm going to get in fact, I'm going to bring up the app that's going to tell us exactly how many calories this dinner is going to be here. There, all right, there we go. I'm going to get a 16-ounce ribeye steak, and I'm going to get half a cup of broccoli, and I'm going to put a little sauce on that broccoli, and it's a sauce that I'll make myself. And you know, again, in another video, I'll actually I'll actually demonstrate. I'll show you what that looks like and how it goes and how I cook it and all of that. But I'm going to get a 16-ounce steak. I'm going to eat all of it. And I'm also going to have, and I say all of it, normally I would eat half of that. So maybe I won't eat all of it. Maybe I won't be hungry to eat all of it. And we got to listen to our bodies in that. But it is my intent to eat the entire steak. And the half cup of broccoli with a little drizzled gravy on top of that, a little sauce, I should say. It's going to be delicious. It's going to be amazing. And and I'm going to have a couple of 85% cacao Lindt chocolate. So dark chocolate, just a little dessert, a little, hey, I'm celebrating. So that's going to be 1,095 calories, so 1,100 calorie meal. Now, if you go by the USDA's daily allowance, that's half of the typical daily allowance. You know, my breakfast was about 200 calories. So you talk about, and I say breakfast, it was lunch, right? But it was about 200 calories, a couple of eggs and some cheese, and I was full, and I'm still full. It's not dinner time yet. I still got a couple hours before dinner time, but I'm going to go ahead and encourage you. So my entire daily thing is 1,100, 1,200, 1,300 calories for the day. My daily allotment is 1,530 calories, and this is how I'm losing weight, guys. And by the way, the carbs, let me take a look in the steak here. Carbs, 0, right? The level of fat, it's 84 grams of fat in that 1 pound steak, and that is at 69% fat and 31% protein. So we're just a little over the 25% protein goal for this meal, but we made up for it in with the breakfast that I had with the eggs and cheese. So, yeah, my macros for the entire day. Let's see if I can find that for you. My macros for the entire day: 4% carbohydrates at 18 grams of carbs, 68% fat, and 28% protein, which is really good. And I'm going to eat like a king tonight. So I hope I can encourage you. Look, this channel's for everyday guys, and I am an everyday guy. I want you to know that I'm going to be here. This is the first of many videos that I'm going to put out, and I'm going to give you some recipes. I'm going to talk about the various pillars of being an average guy, right? We want to talk about things like, you know, health and finances and lifestyle and travel and relationships and faith. And all of those things are going to be a part of this channel. So if that's interesting to you, go ahead and click the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the notify bell. Super grateful for that. And give the video a thumbs up. That's the number one way to grow this channel. And I'm grateful for your time. I hope it's been entertaining. I can't wait to see you in the next one.